All right, guys. That's it. We're here. We're live in Astoria.
Astoria, Queens, baby.
It's the Break O Leg podcast. Welcome.
Love the name, man. Break a leg.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's great to have you here. Let me introduce my guest to everybody. I'm here. Hold on. Let's bring this proper introduction to where we are. You know, we're with Greg the Greek, and we're in the famous
Omonia Cafe.
Omonia Cafe in the heart of Astoria. This is one of these places that you don't go to Astoria, and you don't come. You know, if you don't come to Astoria without visiting this place.
Yes. This place has been around since 1976. If you want great pastries, real Greek pastries,
authentic.
You go to Omonia, which is another location in Brooklyn as well.
In Bay Ridge, where I live. In Bay Ridge.
This is the headquarters. This is the original Omonia.
This is the original. It's the OG of them. You know.
OG of them. Yeah, absolutely.
And have you been to this place since its inception? Pretty much. Have you been in this area for that long? Or
yeah, I immigrated from Greece to Astoria back in 1971.
Awesome, guys. Let me introduce my guest formally. This is the funny man, Greg Kritikos. You know.
New York's funny man.
New York's funny man, Greg Kritikos, you know, of Legendary Entertainment. I met him at the Belladonna Open Mics here in Astoria, and he's kind of like a comedy, guru mentor to a lot of these guys out there. You know, he does something very cool where he does this open mic where he brings, older comedians in to meet with the younger guys, and so they can kind of, pick up and learn the game. And, it's awesome that you do that, Greg.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the things that I love doing is bringing people together, and hopefully with that, young comics as yourself and other comedians, they get to see real pros in action.
Right.
And at the same time, it's all about networking. Comedy's about networking. It's about who
right.
you know, and then from there you kind of move up together and all that.
Right. I heard that in comedy, you guys grow in classes. I'm a new guy, so I'm still learning the game as it goes on. But I'm happy to have some of these great mentors around that are actually showing how it's done right.
Sure. And I had no idea that you do this wonderful podcast, man. It's so. Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
So
you're allowed to say
like
fucking. I'm the fucking. That's my problem. I gotta watch my fucking.
Oleg is the master of the fucking f-bombs.
Yeah.
I think Oleg, one time I timed him. I think he dropped like 60 f-bombs.
It was nonstop.
90 fucking seconds. He dropped 60 f-bombs.
Greg comes up and he's like, "You gotta fucking not say that word." So I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely. I looked at the tape and it's like fucking this, fucking that, fuck that, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's not the best way to.
Yeah. So I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome to have
you. I'm super excited. I mean, you pulled out, all this equipment, and bam, and here we are. I mean, the great thing is that you could do this anywhere. Right?
I could do this anywhere.
This is great,
check this out. Hold on. And, we could get fucking applause and cheers. Look at this.
How about booze? Do we get booze?
Yeah, there's booing. Oh wait, there it goes. You know what there is, though? There's this. If someone's really doing bad, you do this. Get the fuck out of here.
That's painful.
Or we got...
Something you taste.
Yeah. It's one of those... But,
nice soundboard, man.
It's a cool little thing. It's a cool little, I'm happy I got it. I've literally spent hours just fucking around with this thing, playing with the different buttons.
Awesome, man.
This is how I think I know I'm autistic. I literally got this fucking thing, and I was trying to figure out all the different configurations, how I can plug this in, how I can plug that in, just to kind of,
Wow, man, I'm old school. I'm a fucking dinosaur. So every time I see all this new technical shit, it just blows me away. I was around before beepers.
Greg, why don't you give us a little bit of your history? How'd you get into comedy? How'd you do all,
Well, I mean, it's funny you say that because I got into comedy. Well, I got back into the entertainment industry in 2011. And the reason I did is because I'm sober. I'm in sobriety. And March 2nd of 2011 is my sober day. Now, when I was in my early 20s, I had big opportunities, but it doesn't bother me. Comedy Central was calling, knocking on my door. I had opportunities to be on The Sopranos, movies, all that stuff. But unfortunately for me, the alcohol and the crack pipe was calling me. So listen, the crack pipe, it was like, hey, Greggy, fuck everything else. Come on and get me. Like one of those, Richard Pryor when the pipe speaks to him. Me, it was the stem. The skinny stem was calling me, not the pipe,
You know what? I never knew until somebody told me that the little fucking flower stems in the store, those are fucking crack pipes. I'm like,
genius.
yeah,
Genius.
how
Yeah,
can we
in a lot of places, what they do is they actually have stems that are like pens.
Right.
It's a pen, so you pull out the inside of a pen,
inside
the
of
ink,
it.
and you have a stem. But the flowers, the reason they have the flowers, guys, when the cops come, they say, "Hey, we sell flowers." That's it.
those aren't.
But it's
those aren't
actually
crack
a
pipes.
stem.
Yep.
It's the devil. Let me tell you, that stem. I put a couch, a house, an apartment, a woman. I put everything in that stem, man. Everything fits in that fucking stem, man.
Well, listen.
But I'm grateful. I'm fucking sober, so.
Sometimes you got to cross one bridge to get to the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
man,
sometimes
yeah.
it's the way life works. It's always. And I think sometimes you're better off overcoming a struggle sometimes than living your fucking life not ever having one.
Absolutely. I'm a strong believer that, the foundation that we build is for a stronger tomorrow. So I kind of hit that rock bottom. March 2nd of 2011 is when I actually stepped into detox. I spent 7 days in detox. They had me on Librium. I had the shakes, neuropathy, high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol. All that good shit was fucking out the window. I was literally down. I was 385 pounds because of depression. I tie my life experiences and my struggles with my comedy, as you hear plenty of times.
Right.
Because comedy comes from pain, and very hard to take a shower when you're 385 pounds. You can't. The cheeseburger gets wet. So, along with other stuff. But yeah, I was the fattest crackhead in New York City. But I joke about it. I laugh about it now because, I work with a lot of comics. I'm a headliner. I tour the country, and I see comics all the time. They get nervous before they get on stage. I've never been on stage tipsy. I got sober and I got on stage.
Really?
I've never had one fucking drink.
Really? That's something I find also, like, for me, I like to have 1 beer or 2 beers sometimes before going up.
Right.
I mean, I've went up sober also, but I feel that sometimes it just loosens me up a little bit. I'm a little bit more free, but you know what? It's a crutch, right? It's a crutch sometimes.
It all depends, because you know what? See, you're a normal drinker. And,
Right.
A normal drinker has 1, 2, 3, and then he says, "Okay, I'm good." Or an alcoholic has 3, and he's like, "Hey, let's do this."
That's the appetizer, right? And then comes the fucking blow, and then comes the fucking...
Yeah, the blow, the crack, and then you wake up in all different parts of fucking the country, and
Hold on.
blackout.
So, do you have any cool crackhead stories you could share with the podcast?
Sure,
That's what I want to hear. Some fucking wild, night out.
Yeah, close to my last fucking days of my addiction. I was my buddy calls me. He said to me, "Listen, man, you're going to fucking detox," and he said, "I'm sick and tired of watching you kill yourself. So I'm gonna fucking I'd rather kill you myself than watch you kill yourself slowly." So he contacted me and he said to me, "Monday, be ready with all your fucking clothes, and you're going to detox." And I had gotten to that point where I was like fucking large. I was like XXX sweatpants, 5X t-shirts.
Really?
Yeah, man. So, maybe a pair of sweats and a t-shirt was all that's fitting in the fucking luggage, That's I figure. But anyway, like he told me Monday, that's it. I'm picking you up. You're going to detox. And what registered in my mind, in an addict's mind, is like, okay, he called me Thursday, tells me Monday I'm going to fucking detox. So in my mind, in an addict's mind, it's like, I got the whole weekend to get fucking high, man. So on that particular weekend, I went down the bridge, and I went to cop some crack. So here's my crack story, which you heard a couple times, but I'll share with all my friends. I was fucking copping crack at a very well-known projects called Queensbridge. The bridge, because I grew up in Astoria, and Astoria is fucking surrounded. I mean, there's a lot of projects here. You got Astoria projects, Queensbridge. You got Woodside projects, Ravenswood. So there's a lot of projects. Anyway, so copping crack, very easy, especially 3:30, 4 in the morning. So as a Queensbridge, copping crack, and as I'm copping, I guess there was some kind of raid around the block, and there was foot cops walking around, and I just bought a 50-piece, and it's fucking, I hear out of nowhere, "Freeze, police," and the crack dealer. Well, first of all, let's back up a little. When I went to cop crack, my crack dealer asked me for the first time, he goes, "Yo, bro, you okay?" it's kind of weird when your crack dealer asks you if you're okay, because I used to sweat a lot.
He probably doesn't want to lose a customer, right?
Yeah, or whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I used to sweat like R. Kelly at a Sweet 16 party. That's how much I sweat. But anyway, so I got offended. I caught a resentment. I was like, fuck you, ask me if I'm okay. Just give me my fucking cracks, yo. You're like, yo, G, I'm just saying, man, you're sweating hard, you know, it's 4 in the morning. It's like fucking like 20 degrees out and you're sweating hard, you know? So anyway, so we hear freeze police, and I bugged, I froze, and all of a sudden he was gone, you know? He just got beamed, like from Star Trek. He was gone. And I was like, oh shit. And all of a sudden I just like kind of like stopped, and I turned around, and it's a true story. I saw a cop, and he was fatter than me, man. He was bigger than me. And I was like, yo. You know, for the first time in my life, I said, I can do this, man. I can fucking boogie down. I can get out of here, you know? And he looked at me. He's like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. I was like, I'm doing it, man. And I started fucking jetting through the projects. And here is this fat fucking cop. And he's yelling at me, yelling out, freeze, police. And he's screaming at me. And at one point, I could swear I heard him say, freeze, please. And I kept running, and I fucking circled around, and I ran into an Arby's, man. I snuck into a fucking restaurant. What better hiding place for a fat guy than a restaurant, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so I hid it there, and then fucking it was gone. But as a creative, comedian, I write my own material. The comedy, the creative comedy comes in where I walk into the Arby's and I'm bent over, and I'm like, fucking, I'm out of breath, and I go up to the lady, and I say, can I get a roast beef sandwich, man? With some mayonnaise and extra, like, buffalo wing sauce without. And the joke is fucking out here, freeze, police, And I said, what? And I turned around. He was eating there. He was in there before me eating a sandwich. Anyway, yeah, man. But that was towards my last of, missions, as they call it, my crack mission. But yeah, man. I mean, as a crack, if you anybody smokes crack, they're very skinny. They would miss meals.
Right.
Me, the way I gained weight, that a lot of people don't understand, is that I'd go on missions for 2-3 days. Then I would stay home, eat, sleep, because of depression.
Oh, okay.
And I've thrown up in my sleep like numerous times. I'm so lucky because all it takes is that one time to just swallow.
That's happened to me. So I used to drink heavy. Like now I have a drink or two, and then I stop drinking just because you're
a miracle.
I crashed so I threw up in my sleep. That's happened also where I woke up and I'm like, it smells like fucking vomit in here. And then I realized that, I'm the one who fucking vomited and shit. That's happened. That was a big wake up call. That's when I stopped drinking Long Island iced teas. That was my,
should have went to the Nassau County.
That's right. I should have fucking went to the Staten Island iced teas. But so that was that, and another time was I wrecked my car. I drove drunk, and I fell asleep behind the wheel, and those posts underneath the train. I wrapped my car around one of those, and lucky, you know what? There's some good cops because they saw me and they're like, "Were you driving drunk?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Okay, we'll let you go." And
wow,
yeah.
Really? See, back in the 70s, there was no law against drunken driving.
Right.
I remember guys getting into an accident, smashing up in the car. The cops would just take the keys away from you and give it to somebody else. So now it's like a big case,
What happened with me was, it was like 6 a.m, so it was like a shift change. That's what somebody told me. They probably was like a shift change, so they don't want to do anything.
They don't want to do the paperwork.
Right, and there was nobody hurt. My car got totaled. It was one person, and they're like, well, it's funny. They were like, do you want to ride home? They're like, where do you live? I'm like, not too far. They're like, do you want to ride home? I'm like, yeah, I guess. They're like, hop in. I'm like, it's a fucking trap. They're going to fucking arrest me now. But no, they drove me home nicely, and they're like, yo, you're going to have a shitty morning tomorrow, man. But,
Yeah, you're 100% right. That's what happens. They fall into that bracket, the 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever the shift is, and they don't want to do it.
They don't want to deal with the paperwork. They don't want to drive me to wherever.
Yeah, and drinking and driving, honestly, I've done it before, to be perfectly honest with you, but I'm against that stuff. I really am now, and I do a lot of motivational speaking. I do a lot of service. I have people that I work with. I speak at like a lot of, I've spoken in Lake Erie to college for all the athletes. Anywhere I'm touring in the country, I make sure that I do service, and I go to rehabs and detox and prisons. I've spoken in prisons, and I've done. As a matter of fact, tonight we did a show with A.G. White. A.G. White had produced a comedy show in Rikers Island.
Really?
I wish I would have reminded him. We did stand-up comedy, Rikers Island.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So as a as a motivational speaker after the comedy, I spoke to them. They told a little bit about my disease and all that, and a lot of the inmates were, and for the big reason, you don't know that my mom was hit by a drunken driver when she was 42, and as a result of that accident, she's an amputee. They amputated her legs. A leg, above the kneecap, a thigh, and I just recently lost her. She passed away. Going on a month and a half now. Thank God. But she's up top looking at me, and and that's the beauty of sobriety. Like the last 3 years, I lost my brother. He had a massive heart attack. 2019. My pops died 2020, and my mom passed 2021.
Wow.
So
it's been a tough.
Yeah, it's like no matter what, I belong to the no matter what club, which that means that no matter what, I'm not going to pick up that drink because I can't have that drink. I'm an alcoholic.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Listen, for me, I like smoking weed more than anything. But also that's got its. It's not the. It's any fucking thing you do. It's got to be done in fucking moderation. Cause,
the hardest word in the American language for me is balance.
Right.
Balance. So I'm that kid that if I fucking open up a box of Oreo cookies, they're fucked.
Right.
I can literally hear Oreo cookies running out of the box. They're afraid I'm gonna finish it all. I got that addictive personality.
I think most comics have that because you have to fucking have that addictive.
Yeah.
What else is gonna make you go in front of a group of people, fucking say shitty jokes, fucking and deal with the rejection and
you're right. Yeah. And I'm that guy that if a woman across the room smiles at me, she loves me.
I'm not,
If I buy her a drink, man, we're moving in together. If I buy her 2 drinks, we're getting married.
That's how it goes. Listen, it's tough these days, especially fucking nowadays. If you're buying a drink, it's not so cheap. It's not.
No, it's not, man. It's fucking crazy.
It's especially in the city. You fucking go to the city, it's like fucking $30 a drink somewhere.
When I was a kid, man, I'm 58. We had nippers. I don't know if you guys. You don't even know what a nipper is, do you? It's an 8-pack of a small little fucking Budweiser bottle. It was like a fucking midget. Old kids say the word midget.
You know what I was gonna say? I was gonna say a nipper is like when a girl's nipple just pops out a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a nipper.
You have to find an alcoholic girl that you can suck on a nipple, and they'll be sucking on her nipples. A nippy. But they were called nippers back in the day, 8-packs of Budweiser and shit like that.
So you were telling me before about the movie Charlie.
Charlie Boy.
Charlie Boy.
Yeah, I wrote, produced. First of all, I'm a producer mostly. I love producing. For me as an addict, it's the high before the high.
I can see that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody out there is smoking crack right now, you know how cool it was just, making the phone call, waiting for the crack dealer, getting the crack pipe together, the screens, the high before the high. So the high before the high for me is producing. And as a producer, I produce, I'm like really thick, hands-on, like really back into producing. And Mike Rockowitz, which is my graphics designer, him and we started Legendary Entertainment in New York City, which shout out to Mikey Rockowitz, which you're probably going to have on the show. Mikey's the youngest editor to work with Stan Lee in Marvel Comics.
Right.
He's a great artist like you, and he does all my graphics. So if you go on Greg Kritikos, or you go to my page on Facebook, you'll see all the posters. That's all done by Mike Rockowitz. Awesome. So him and we connected. We've been together for like 8 years. And that's kind of opened the doors for me for a lot of different things, because if you're going to do anything, you need advertisement, and Mike handles all that.
Right.
I produce the actual events. He does a lot of the writing, a lot of stuff like that, the artwork. So, 3 years ago, I started writing a short, which I got funded $100,000 to make a short.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it like a contest, or it was just like you submitted?
No. What it is that I'm an actor. I've been in numerous productions, and I met an executive producer one time on the movie set, and he found out that I was a comedian. He took a liking to me, and he said, "Hey, are you doing any shows?" I said, "Yeah, I'm doing a show." So he came out to Broadway Comedy Club.
Right.
He supported me. I was doing a show called Bagels and Baklava for 3 years at Broadway Comedy Club. So he came out, he supported me, and then at the end we started talking, and he goes, and I told him I was an actor also, because he was on a movie set. He was on a movie that he had. He was one of the executive producers. He funded. So I found that out, and when I heard I said, "Listen, I got a great story for you." And he said, "Really?" And he said, "Well, why don't you, give me the synopsis?" So I gave him the synopsis. I wrote it, and he loved it. And from there, I got him the treatment. And the next thing you know, we're talking about producing a short And then from there, it turned into a feature.
That's
So,
awesome.
so funding is very important in the movie industry.
Right,
Independent.
right. That's the number one thing.
Right. And, fortunately for me, I do know some celebrities, and I approached Sean Young. Sean Young was the female, she was a household name back in the 80s, very famous. Sean Young played in movies like Stripes with Bill Murray. She was in Ace Ventura, No Way Out with Kevin Costner, Gene Hackman. Sean Young was in what was that other movie that just she was all over the place. Anyway, I met Sean Young. I was doing something. I was writing with a screenwriter. It turns out that the screenwriter was her husband. So to make a long story short, I started networking with her, and it was during the Me Too stuff that was going on. So I approached her. I says, "Hey, well, how'd you feel about actually directing a movie?" Because I figured everyone that loves her, everyone that hates her, they're going to see what she can do. So we actually brought her along, and she came along. And then she ended up robbing laptops. She fucked up. She's fucking a psychopath. It's all over People magazine and everything. It made it on the news everywhere.
Wait, hold on. She wound up robbing laptops on the set or whatever the fuck it is?
Yeah, here we are filming this fucking movie, and then she got fired off the set. And then she retaliates and robs the fucking...
Wow.
So this is a household name, Sean Young. It's all over the place. Google Greg Kritikos, Sean Young, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So to make a long story short, she catches some resentment. So, but I got the funding, and we had another guy come down. He directed it, and the next thing you know, this whole fucking movie that's in the movie festivals right now, it's called Charlie Boy. Tomorrow's Today, Charlie Boy. They kind of changed the name around, but I'm the producer and the writer.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I had Burt Young in it. I have scenes with Burt Young.
That's cool.
Burt Young, I don't know if you know Burt Young.
I don't know who he is.
Burt Young played in Rocky. He was Rocky Balboa. Rocky, he was his brother-in-law.
Okay, I remember him.
Burt Young, he's another, he's an Academy Award nominee. So Burt Young, and here's another name. She plays my ex-wife in the movie, Kelly LeBrock, Weird Science, Lady in Red.
Oh, her.
Yes, Kelly LeBrock. Would you like to see it? Can they see a picture right now?
Show it to the screen. Show it to the camera if you want to pull it up. Hold on. We could do it right now, but you know what?
She was fucking hot. So let's get a picture of Kelly LeBrock.
Hold on, I'm going to pull it up.
Go to Kelly LeBrock Images. Lady, and you're going to see some pictures of her that'll blow your mind.
So, guys, that's her.
Let me see her. What does she look like? Well, that's her now, but let me show you Kelly LeBrock.
Okay, there's one from the 80s. You can choose to see one from the 80s.
Yeah, let's see what you got in the
Kelly
80s.
LeBrock,
This is going to be so
80s.
cool. Weird Science. Lady in Red. Look at show them that picture.
Hold on. Guys.
So she was in Weird Science. So I was with Kelly LeBrock in this movie with Burt Young, and she plays my ex-wife, which was pretty cool.
Where can people see it if they want to see it?
It's in the film festivals at the moment.
Okay.
So it's all over the film festivals. So here's Kelly LeBrock actually giving me the finger on top of my head.
Guys, check that out.
She's giving me the finger. Beautiful Kelly LeBrock. You can't make this shit up. She's so gorgeous, and she plays my ex-wife, and of course this gentleman over here, which I'm sure you guys know. You'll see a picture of him right now.
By the way, and as the Break Oleg podcast gets better, we're going to find ways to, in post, put these stuff up so people can see it. We're going to fucking do it right. We're doing it right. You know what I'm saying? Rome wasn't built in a fucking day.
No, it wasn't.
But we're building it brick by brick, and we got one of the most important bricks right here. We got Greg Kritikos. Look at that. Greg Kritikos and Burt Young.
So there you go. That's Burt Young. Everybody knows him for Rocky. A lot of the old guys. So I produced and wrote Charlie Boy. That's in the film festivals. And I'm really proud because now I'm actually networking. And I actually, just the other day, I sat with networks. And I'm actually writing 10 episodes for a TV series.
That's fucking awesome. Let me ask you a question.
I'm not at liberty to say nothing yet, but more shall be revealed.
And you know what? I can't wait to have you on the podcast. On future
You'll always
episodes.
have me.
Awesome,
I don't
Greg.
care how big I get. You'll always have
Hell
me.
yeah,
Always.
fucking Greg.
Big
Hell
in
fucking-
size, that is.
One thing
Big
I
in
gotta
size,
say.
motherfucker.
One thing I gotta say is that Greg is the first guy to ever give me a shot in comedy. He's the first one to put me on my first actual show.
And it's an honor to do that because
Thank you.
Oleg is a funny motherfucker.
I'm trying,
I
I'm
saw it in
trying.
him. And he's going to be with me on November 14th and December 5th on Broadway Comedy
Hell
Club.
fucking yeah. I'll be
Okay,
there.
Oleg Cutler will be there.
Hell fucking yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's the movie. And now also, back in when I got sober, I produced something called Stories from Astoria.
Tell us about that.
Stories from Astoria is about me and my boys growing up in the 80s back in Astoria, which I actually worked with Ken Kushner on this project. And we shot a sizzle reel, and it made it on national television in Greece.
That's
the
awesome.
sizzle reel made it on national
Oh, I think I
television.
saw you post something on
Yes, I did.
Instagram about that.
And I wrote, if you wrote that,
Yeah, I
I'm
saw
happy
that.
to announce writing session is on, and that's about what the new project that I'm working on right now. And so Stories from Astoria 10 years ago, and then 10 years later now, I'm actually talking to networks, and I'll just shut up about that.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Let me ask you a question. How does it feel? Because I know as an artist, you start something, you see it from its seed, and then you watch it, blossom. How did it feel, watching Charlie Boy from going from a thought in your head to
On paper.
to actually.
Yeah, it's a magical feeling for me. It really is. And, being a sober addict now, and realizing that, you see, I've always loved movies. Even as a child, when I was in Greece, we immigrated here in 71. We were too poor. We didn't have TV. So my father would take a white sheet and he would go into a door frame and he would take tacks and put the sheet like into the door. Then he would take candles and put it behind shut off all the light. So you would have a screen.
You would project it on.
No projection, nothing. Just candles and a sheet. And then he would take these puppets and we would have, man,
That's
it's
awesome.
classic. So even at the age of 3, I fell in love with the movies and screens and entertainment, if you will. So anyway, getting back to Stories from Astoria, I wrote it. I had this Chrissa Petridou, which is very famous in Greece, and she's also from Cyprus. I actually put her in my sizzle reel that we were working on, and the next thing you know, I get a phone call. I'm home, and my niece calls me. She goes, Uncle Greg, I'm watching you on Star TV right now, Star Channel, national
awesome is
TV. She goes, they're talking about grandma and losing a leg and prison and all this. I go, Julie, I'm tired right now. I ain't got time for this shit. She goes, no, Uncle Greg, you're on fucking TV. You're on this show called The Star, and it's like, hello, it's comparison to like the Oprah Winfrey Show in America.
Wow.
So I'm like, holy fucking shit. And the reason for that is because, a lot of my friends back in the day, I don't know if you've ever seen pictures with me and my boys, So it's a true story based on Greeks in the 80s. A lot of my friends. And when I come back to the show over here one day with Oleg, we're going to actually have all the, the things that we need. But let me show you a little picture of me and the boys now when we were kids. So this is what Stories from Astoria is about.
Let me see. Let me put it to the camera. Wow, you guys look like a cool fucking. Look at you guys.
Yeah, this is not a movie.
Are these all Greek guys over here?
Yes, all Greek.
Look at that. Look at these.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stories. One of my boys was murdered. His brother was murdered. His father was murdered.
We'll put a better picture up.
Yeah.
But you know what? These are the Warriors from Astoria. That's what it looks like.
But in real life, a couple of these guys. One guy, just to make a long story short, he was facing 5 years to life. And on 2 days before his court, he actually ran into a building that was on fire, and he saved someone's life.
Wow.
So 2 days before sentencing, and he was facing a lot of time. It was like 5 years to life, and a lot. And then my other friend, But to make a long story short, I'm so grateful. So that was the first thing that I ever produced, and making it on national television fucking blew me away because I just wrote the sizzle reel. It was a short little writing, so I was the executive producer on that, and but planting the seed, man. Like Oleg said,
Right.
seed something.
And you watch it
Just
snowball.
turn it snowball and watching it. And even in my comedy, watching young guys like Oleg getting on stage and all these other comedians that I give opportunities to get on a real show and pay. He got paid, actually.
Yep.
I don't know if I was the first guy that paid.
I
don't know, but...
Could I technically call myself a professional
Yes, you
comedian at this
can,
point?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know I got a long way to go, but...
You got a long way to go, but you got very... One thing about Oleg is, and this is not because I'm on his podcast, he's very fucking creatively funny.
Thank you.
He knows how to... So it just takes time. That's what it's all about. Listen, nothing is overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right.
You have to constantly work at your craft. And to all the fucking shitty comedians that come here and think they're going to be famous, it takes work. You have to constantly work. I get a lot of young comics that tell me all the time, how do you become a pro comic? And the first thing I said to them is, do you love it? Do you love being a comedian? Because if you don't love it, don't waste your time.
Right.
You gotta love it. You gotta love what you do.
Right.
Like Oleg loves this podcast. He loves doing comedy. And then after you love what you do, you gotta work.
That's the other part.
I get people all the time, my friends think I'm funny. You think maybe I could be a comedian? I said, your friends think you're funny, but tomorrow your friends might need to pay $50 to see you. Are they going to pay?
Yeah, that's what it really comes down to. It's like everyone thinks they're funny until also people don't realize it's one thing to be funny in front of your friends, but there's another one. You get on that stage,
You're all alone.
You're all alone. The light hits you, and you forget everything. Like I remember the first time I ever went up to try stand up, the fucking light hit me, and there was a second I just got a blank. I'm like, what the fuck? But then it came to me, but.
I tell young comics one thing that I was told when I first got into comedy. Now, I got into comedy when I was 25. Like I said, I had opportunities, Comedy Central, all that. And then I took this long, off. I took this long break for drinking and drugging, and then I'm back in it again. So a lot of the comedians that I came up with, they're already like doing their specials, all that shit,
Right.
So now that I'm back in it, and I feel so comfortable in my skin as the finding your voice, as they say, and I'm doing shows with some pretty big comics, it's cool because, now it's like you realize, like, I'm living my dream for the first of all. I'm living my fucking dream, which I love it. It's fucking great. But when I got first doing comedy, somebody told me 1 minute on stage without making people laugh is an eternity.
Oh, yeah.
It's an eternity.
Oh, fucking yeah.
And the difference between a writer and a comedian is a writer writes things down. So a lot of comedians have to write their own comedy, and then they have to deliver it and all that. But,
Right.
But it takes work.
Right. And to every time, let's say you're doing the same joke, make it seem like it's new, like it's improvised, just adding those elements to it every time. There's a whole nature to it.
One little joke can actually turn into a bigger joke.
Right.
With more tags and recognizing your crowd. That's another thing. A lot of people don't. You have to identify the crowd. You have to know how to work the crowd, And a real pro comic, as a producer, I really don't stress it enough, but I don't like with my comics. The host, if he wants to, just intertwine with the people, it's okay. But as a pro comic, your job is to go up there and laugh. You don't make fun of the fucking people. Don't make fun of people that came out to support you. If you don't have enough material to make people laugh and you got to pick on somebody to make them laugh, that's not fucking professionalism. That's how I feel. A lot of people feel the same way. There's a lot of venues that don't like that, because as a producer, people that are coming out. So my comedians, they should be fucking funny. They have to work their craft. Don't pick on fucking people. They're coming out to support you, you idiot.
Right. You know what it is? I think a lot of people don't know that you want people to come back. You want return customers. So if somebody comes to a comedy show and you just fucking ripped into them and he feels like shit, he's like, why the fuck did I even come out tonight? People are going out to get entertained.
Thank you, Oleg. See, Oleg understands.
It's the entertainment industry.
But they have no fucking comedy and they think that they hey, I was funny today. No, you weren't. You were picking on somebody and people laughed and, and stuff. I heckle myself. And, I remember when as a young comic, somebody yelled something at me one time and said something and said, oh, you suck. I said, yeah, I do. I suck my own dick. If I want to heckle myself, you're not going to really hurt me,
Some of it, I think, comes from just you get into bad habits at the open mics. Because
they're jaded. Because comedians don't want to laugh at other comedians. They're fucking idiots. That's why I tell people at my open mic, I says, laugh a little. Laugh. You support each other, you fucking idiots.
But the one thing I do like about your open mic is that there's always a cool crowd of people. It's always nice Sal, the owner of the pizzeria, Belladonna Pizza.
Belladonna Pizza, baby.
You
And
know,
Oleg is a fixture over there.
Here every fucking Wednesday, doing the open
every
mic.
Wednesday, 8 o'clock, open mic. Stop in, man.
It's in the back. It's fucking great. It's outdoors. The pizza's fucking great. Show support. Come through.
So that's that. And also, those are the two big productions that I've worked on so far, but I produced other shit. But my baby also is with Mike Rockwitz from Legendary Entertainment. We actually put something together because when I got sober, I pulled a Geographic. I went to Spokane, Washington State, or State of Washington, whatever it's called. And while I was out there performing, people thought I was in the witness protection program.
That's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny. It's hysterical. You know why? Because fucking my voice, my look.
Yeah.
Because that's where they hide people, in Idaho, fucking Spokane and shit. So here I am. I'm out there. People are thinking I'm in the witness protection program, and I'm catching the resentment. I'm like, fuck you, you idiots. So while I was out there, I started talking about being in the witness protection program. But, one of my jokes was like, I was so fucking fat, couldn't even see my dick. My dick was in the witness protection program. But anyway, getting back to, my creative side, something smacked me in the head, an idea. And that's how I came up with the Witless Protection Program.
That's pretty funny.
And that's my cartoon that we have 3 episodes. Mike Rockwitz is the artist.
Really?
And Will Branca from Ren and Stimpy is my fucking, what do we call him? The
illustrator?
No, animator.
Animator.
He's my animator. So I have 3 episodes. So I don't think you've ever seen it.
No. I kind of do want to see it. Are they online? Can people find them if they look for it?
Not yet, because
we got to put all these things out. We're gonna put.
I got funded, so.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you can't just put it out, but
exactly.
Hopefully it'll be at a TV near you guys.
Yes, it will. But you know what? I could show them a little bit. I'll tell you.
Give a little sneak peek. Give a little sneak peek.
Here's a little sneak. 100%. Here we go. Okay.
Ren and Stimpy actually used to be one of my favorite cartoons growing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of my artwork that I do is actually kind of similar to that's what I grew up watching.
So this is going to be a treat. Now that he said that, I have to definitely...
I got to see him now.
Yes, now you will. Now you will. Hold up. Give me a sec. I'm so fucking bad when it comes to this shit. I swear to God. I'm so fucking... Here we go.
I think, when it comes to technology, I think I'm pretty shitty. I'm lucky that I got this fucking setup to work.
Okay, here we go.
Let's see, guys.
You're going to get a real kick out of this one.
By the way, you guys got to try the coffee here at Omonia. It's fucking definitely keeping me awake. It's keeping fucking the energy going.
I got it.
I got woken up this morning when my friends called me. She's like, "Oh, what are you fucking doing? I'm gonna come over." I'm like, "Cool." She calls me 2 hours later. She's like, "I'm already fucking drunk." I'm like, "Great," So.
How the fuck do I'm so. Hold on a minute. Cartoon links. Links to cartoon. Here we go.
So Mike drew all the characters. He developed all the characters and stuff like that.
You're gonna love this. Oleg is really gonna get a kick out of this right now.
Let me take a look.
He hasn't seen this yet.
Let me take a look at it.
Now, do you know who Will Branca is?
No.
Will Branca is the animator of Ren and Stimpy. So you're gonna see something similar to fucking Ren and Stimpy right now. That's gonna really blow your mind right now, my friend.
And we're watching. Hold on.
Take a look at it. Wait a minute. Just watch a little.
Could I show it to the...
Where is it?
I Hate Rats. That's the name of the episode.
That's the name of it. Now watch the plane. You're going to see the stretch.
I could see the Ren and Stimpy. I could see the Ren and Stimpy. It's the same. Yeah.
They kicked me out of a plane.
Can I show it to the screen?
Yeah, it's good. Here's Ren and Stimpy. Will Branca, that's my name. Okay, here it is. There's the plane. Watch all. Look at it now. Take a look at it. Can you see it? Watch the kick. You see the stretch? That's Ren and Stimpy shit. Now
it's exactly like Ren and Stimpy. Now his nuts are in the fucking propellers.
Now, they kicked me out in Idaho. A Greek gangster gets kicked out in Idaho. I have 3 episodes. I Hate Rats. There it is.
That's fucking awesome. I really like it. It's really dope.
You bugged out on that, right? You had no idea.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I Hate Rats. So This is the production. That's my baby. We've been working on it. We have 10 episodes written. 3 of them have been animated. So we're waiting for the next wave of production because during COVID, a lot of shit had stopped.
Right.
But I got the cartoon in the makes. I'm working on something else. I got stories from a story. So, yeah, and besides all that, I'm doing my comedy, my shows that I'm doing.
That's awesome. I've seen the flyers. You've been getting around the whole country.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going back to, I'm going to Connecticut next. I'll be touring out there. Then after that, I'm going back to Ohio. Then from there, I'll be going back towards the Bing Crosby Theater in the Northwest and doing a lot of the Northwest shows in Portland, Idaho, all that stuff. Tri-State, I've been doing everywhere. Jersey, Long Island. All that stuff. Brooklyn, I got a show coming up at Industry Room in Brooklyn. Back to Governors. So, yeah, I'm living my dream, man. I love doing comedy.
Fucking awesome.
So between the comedy, the productions, and all that, but most of all, it's my sobriety, I have to be honest. If it wasn't for me being sober, I wouldn't be doing anything.
You wouldn't be able to do any of it, right?
No, nothing.
That's amazing, though, that, you're actually able to do something. Some people are miserable. Some people, you know what I mean? You're actually able to kind of set your mind to things and execute on them.
Yeah, and it's like, I work with other addicts and alcoholics, and, I try to pass the message, I have a commitment that I do in Cornerstone. It's a detox rehab. Every second Saturday of the month, I go there, and I'm a speaker. I bring speakers into the addicts, into like there, and and that's the greatest gift that I can do. Besides everything, I'm a human being first, then an entertainer. But I've been in situations where I wasn't headlining by myself, but I wasn't part of a big show, and somebody called me and said, I need help with somebody. And I called the producer, and I says, I'm not going to make it in today. They were like, why? I says, I have to go help somebody. So, an intervention and shit like that, so.
Let me ask you a question. Does a part of recovery, like the process when you're helping others, does that also kind of...
Helps me, absolutely.
Right.
There's no cure. There's no cure for this disease of alcoholism. Since day one, all it is 2 alcoholics. They get together and they talk about it. The 2 most important ingredients in my life today is honesty and willingness. If I don't have the willingness to be honest and to work my program, I can't drink, people. I've been on shows, podcasts about, the disease of alcoholism, and people don't understand. They're like, how do you know? Like, what's the difference? Well, if you're a normal person and you wake up the next day and you forget what you did last night, it's called a blackout.
Right.
Normal people, they have a blackout that don't drink, they'll run to the doctor the next day. They're like, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. When an alcoholic's like, I blacked out.
That's actually part of the fucking, you drink till you black out. That's when you know.
Exactly. So, so if I have a drink tonight, I know, like, let's just say, if I was to drink tonight, I'd probably wake up in China.
Digging fucking down from the fucking...
Probably see fucking Brian Kim in China somewhere doing stand-up.
Shout out to Brian Kim. He's fucking great.
Shout out to Brian Kim.
He's great at the show.
Shout out to A.G. White from P. Diddy Bad Boys of Cotton. What did you think of A.G.?
He was hilarious.
He's hilarious. Yeah,
I like him.
I've done Raggy's Island with him, and then I did Caroline's with him. A.G.'s, when I met A.G., and he's a pro, he's been around for a long time, he came out, he calls me G, he said, yo, G, man, he goes, just have fun. And that's why I tell people, like I tell you, have fun, man. When you're up there, have fun, bro. If you're not having fun, something's wrong.
Right. If you're doing it just to get laughs, you get into your head sometimes because, I've had those moments where you get up there and you're like, you want everybody to laugh so badly, but sometimes the joke is not there, whatever it is, or the crowd is not there, and you start to.
And a lot of things that I try to tell a lot of young comedians is that they get so much into their fucking head. If you got a room full of people. Like A.G. White today, at one point, he stopped and he looked at some woman that wasn't laughing, and he called the Barbara Streisand. Remember that part?
Right.
He's like, do you find anything funny? That was at an open mic. He wouldn't do that at a pro comedy show.
Right.
Now, I've seen comedians, they try so hard to make a person laugh on the show, they lose the rest of the crowd.
Right.
You stay with the fucking people that are laughing. Don't worry about one person. I've done shows where a guy sat in front of me and he gave me that look like... And I'm saying to myself, I must have made a comment. I told one guy, I go, are you with the CIA? And he just looked at me. Some people just need to let their fucking face know that it's funny. But I'm powerless over that shit. I don't care.
Right. You can't make
If you're going to go to a comedy show and like, go ahead, I dare you, make me laugh. You don't need to laugh. Dickhead, stay home. Stay in the closet. Fucking stick yourself with pins up your ass. Be miserable.
Yeah, you don't need to bring your fucking misery to everybody else.
Yes.
Shit.
Back in the day, we say misery loves company. No, misery demands company.
That's right.
Yeah,
Misery makes, it's like they say, it's not a bad day until you ruin somebody else's day or whatever it is, whatever the fucking saying is.
Yeah. I have a joke that I'm working on because when I went into detox, I was 385 pounds. And I had sleep apnea, major sleep apnea. And I remember when I had gone into Phoenix House, I spent 3.5 months of rehabilitation. I'm an alumni from Phoenix House. I went into, back then, each bathroom was being shared by 8 fucking people. And some of these guys, they're in the detox. Some of them are coming from prison. They don't want to go to prison. And some of them done their, prison sentences. They get a reduced sentence because they want to go to detox and rehab. So 8 guys were sharing one bathroom. So you have a bathroom. There's 2 doors, one on the east, one on the west. So each door opens. So the door opens and it's 2 bunk beds, 4 people. Okay? So the other room would be 4 people. So one bed would be my share. So when I got into detox, rehab, I got into a room and I was supposed to be sleeping on the lower part of the bunk bed. So when I went to receive it, I told him, I said, listen, I'm 385 pounds. I have sleep apnea. Sometimes I get, my sleep, I stop breathing. I can't sleep on top of the bunk bed. I have to sleep in a lower bunk bed. So I already had moved from the top to the bottom. So then I was like, something's wrong here. I can't go up top. I'm 385 pounds. Right. How the fuck? So we got into a little bit of an argument. And then I explained to him. He's like, all right, cool, man. So I slept on the bottom. So one of the things about sleep apnea is it's very uncomfortable. You can't sleep, but you also help people not sleep either. That's pretty. So I remember waking up, and I thought I got some deep sleep. It's called deep sleep. I wake up and then I look at 3 guys. They're all just staring at me. Their eyes are fucking bloodshot. They're looking at me. One guy goes, bro, what the fuck was that? I was like, what? He goes, we thought you were going to die because you're like, stop breathing. But, but sleep apnea, man, all that shit. So, I don't even know what we were talking about, but I got sleep apnea. That's how far I got into it. But
no, you were telling me there's a joke you're writing with the sleep apnea.
Yes, sleep apnea. There it is. So it's like, I could sleep. I think I'm getting deep sleep. Deep sleep is normal sleep, where people have normal sleep. When you're 385 pounds, right, you have sleep apnea. It's very hard to sleep. They put all these wires on you. They monitor you. And I stopped breathing like 30 times in my sleep, which is kind of fucked up.
Wow, yeah.
So you make all types of noise.
Yeah, you suffocate.
People. So if you're struggling or you're suffering from sleep apnea, when you're sleeping around other people, they're suffering with you.
There you go. There you go. Let me ask you a question before we wrap it up pretty much. You have any funny stories from the road? When I first started doing comedy, I wanted to go on the road. I was dying to go on the road. And one of my favorite comics is Richard Jenny. Okay. And Richard Jenny, one of the funniest things I ever heard, he's like, yo, when you're doing comedy and you're on the road and, you're fucking all by yourself because, when you're like a real big headliner and they're lining up tours for you, you're constantly on the road, So he's like, it gets lonely after a while, You're home, you're in a hotel all by yourself and you're looking at TV and being Richard Jenny was a big comic. God rest his soul, he passed away, committed suicide, actually. He's like, he gets a little fucked up because, you go watch, and he goes, I'm a big cartoon guy. And, I'm watching the Flintstones, and I'm saying to myself, yo, Wilma Flintstone, she doesn't look that bad right now. I wouldn't mind fucking her, and Betty Rubble, So, but for me, it's a high, man. It's a beautiful high going on, touring and, walking into a state where people can't wait to see you, right. and you're on the road, and it's cool. It's a beautiful thing, man. I was on the road with this comedian, Barry Ribs. He calls himself the Legend. He's fucking hysterical. So they booked us, and he's like, yo, G, you want to come with me? He goes, it's early in my career. He goes, they're not going to pay you. So I was like, fuck it, I don't care. I just want to be on the road, Right.
So we went, and they put us in this fucking roachy, dinky motel. It was fucking gross. It was so fucking bad, man. I didn't want to take my socks off. That's how bad it was. So we're in this fucking hotel, and it's dingy, and then the next night, we're actually, and it was out in Delaware, so I was out there for 2 nights. And, I'm so excited, to get there. So I get there, I'm like, it's okay. Then I go there, and they actually put me up. It was fun, but the person that was producing the show was a real dickhead because he was supposed to pick us up the next day. He never picked us up. And I was like, what kind of a legend are you that they don't even pick you up? I said, and we had no ride, nothing. and we were stuck in Delaware.
Wow.
So it was a Sunday too, and there wasn't that many cars around. It was kind of fucking freaky.
Wow.
And we didn't have the budgets to like fucking like, so we needed to go to a bus depot and all this shit.
Wow.
And we were stuck in Delaware. So that's one of my horrible fucking road trips. But then there's other shows, like I produced one of the biggest shows at the Bing Crosby Theater. Bing Crosby was a very famous entertainer. And I actually brought 3 comics.
Where is it? What state is it?
It's in the state of Washington.
Washington,
It's
okay.
in Spokane.
Spokane. Okay, there's a big comedy scene in Spokane, right?
Very
Isn't there
big.
like a festival or something like that?
There's always, and Bing Crosby was very famous. Him and it was Bing Crosby and what's his name? I forget the other Bob Hope.
Okay.
Bob Hope. They were a team, so they have the Bing Crosby Theater, and watching this was one of the biggest highlights in my life. To be perfectly honest with you, this is what it's all about when you're doing comedy. So I'll share something with you guys.
Being up on that stage must feel
Being
amazing.
up on the stage,
just-
but seeing something else that's really fucking amazing. And this is what's going to happen to Oleg one day, because I'm here the first
Hopefully,
one to
hopefully.
call it out. Here it is. When you see shit like this
when you see your name on the marquee.
on a big marquee, so that's
Look
the
at that.
Bing Crosby Theater, Greg Kritikos. You know, that was one of the highlights. I fucking bugged when I seen that. So, yeah, Bing. So that's what it was, Greg Kritikos.
That's
And,
awesome.
Yeah, and on one side it said Greg Kritikos, and on the other side it actually said Greg the Greek.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
So on both
It's
sides.
official. It's fucking official. Look at that.
So having my name up in lights at
It's
a marquee.
hard to see on the camera.
That's okay. We're gonna be.
It's
that's
there.
the
It's
shit.
fucking there. I
It's
seen
there.
it. It's there.
So having your name up on a marquee like that. So again, for me as a producer, flying 3 comedians across the country, putting them up at a hotel that was on the radio, all over the radio. It was amazing. It's a high that I can never, it's amazing. So I'm living my dream thanks to sobriety. Meeting young talents like Oleg, and being here is such an honor to be here with you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart.
It's an honor to have
And
you on the
you
podcast.
keep watching him, because I'm going to get him the Mambo Kid next, the middleweight kickboxing champion in the world. I'm going to bring him there. So I might be a producer on the show with him. He's going to be the talent, but I'm going to be behind the scenes booking fucking people. I'm excited to fucking bring my friends, introduce them to Oleg. Oleg, you run a fucking great, amazing podcast,
Thank you, man. And that's what it is. It's the Break Oleg podcast. What we're doing is we're breaking people to the fucking world.
Yeah.
We're shining light.
Yeah, shine a light, and
You know what I'm saying?
and keep tuning in. Keep tuning in, man, because there's going to be a lot of talent.
Exactly. We're going to have episodes every week. We're going to have more than one episode every week. We're going to try to film
Absolutely.
as many of these fucking things as possible.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yeah,
So,
100%. I'm really excited to be part of this. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the people out there. I can't wait to make sure you give me the link or whatever it is. I'm going to share it with all my followers.
see ya, guys.
Shout
Follow.
out to Spokane, Washington State. Shout out to Chris Kettler out in Crackpots. I'll be seeing you in December. Very excited. Carrie Karavis, touring with her, doing shows. Mike Rockwitz, I love you. All the comedians out there, man, that I'm working with, in the movie industry. Shout out to James Orfanos, producer that just shot 10 episodes it's coming out on cable television called A Good Cop. He's the producer. And, really excited, man. And I'm really happy to be here. Thank you all for having me. And shout out to my girl, Eleonora. I love you, baby. You make me want to be a better man. Love you.
Let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me everywhere on Facebook, Greg the Greek, or Greg Kritikos on Instagram, GregKritikos, Greg Kritikos. On Facebook, Greg Kritikos, GregKritikos, Criticos, not clitoris, Criticos, because people fuck up my name all the time. So that's where you can find me, and if you Google Greg Kritikos, you'll see all my stuff.
Awesome, Greg. It was a pleasure having you here. And once again, guys, this is the
I love you, man. Thank you
Break
so much.
Oleg podcast.
The Break Oleg podcast. I love Break Oleg podcast. I love it, man.
You know, we got...
Peace. Dude, that